Welcome to another MakerCut video. Today we're going to be talking about using a rotary unit with Autolaser. You can visit our website, www.makercut.com. Don't forget to subscribe on the button below and hit the bell so that you get a notification when we post new videos. So first we're going to need a few measurements: the width of the area that's safe to engrave and the diameter of the object, in this case a tumbler. For one of our customers. So here we have the safe area to engrave. We see it's about 84 millimeters in width. And we're going to measure the diameter of the object. This tumbler happens to be 100 millimeters, give or take a few millimeters, in diameter, which translates to a circumference of 314 millimeters. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to put it into this tumbler, we're going to put it into the rotary unit, and then we're going to go over to Corel Draw and put together what we want it to look like. After we get this set, we're also going to adjust the laser head where we want it to start, and then we'll move forward from there. We have Corel Draw 2017 open. You can see the bounding box is the size of our table, which is centered at 450 by 300. That's the center of the object. And our table is 900 by 600 millimeters in height and width. We use this as a bounding box or a template for the table, so that we can position everything relative to the table. Since we're using a rotary unit, we technically don't need it, but you can see the two bounding boxes, one for the first portion of the logo that's 84 millimeters in width and 157.08 millimeters in length or height. The reason is because the full diameter or the full circumference is 314.16 millimeters. So we use these bounding boxes to center everything, and it allows us to make sure that the logos and text are all centered within the safe areas on the tumbler that we're going to work on. So now let's move it over to Autolaser. Click the button, and script sends everything over to Autolaser for us. So let's pull up Autolaser. So here we are on Autolaser. Now again, you can see the bounding box for the table that shows the whole table unit. We're going to actually select that, and we're going to delete it. Now notice there's a little bit of variation for the size of the square for the table. That's not a problem. We're going to delete that anyway. So now you can see that there's a few errors in our vectors, and part of the reason for that is that when it comes over from Corel Draw, it's not always necessarily correct. So let's set ourselves up to use the rotary device. Typically you're in common equipment, but for this we'll be using the wheeled equipment. So we select that, and our material diameter is 100 millimeters. So we just click Save. Since we already have this set correctly, clicking Save. And we can close that out. So we see we still have our bounding boxes. We're going to scroll up. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all of these items because we can see that they're not quite right. So when you take off the fill, you can see that these are different colors. So now we're going to select all of these and we're going to group them together. So make them all the same color as far as engraving or carving goes. And so now when you click the fill again, you can see that now it shows up correctly and everything's in the correct space. So now we're going to do this to the other items that we want carved or engraved. So we're going to select them all as well. Notice that there is a magenta in there as well, which is okay, but we're going to group them all together. So what it's going to do is it's actually going to take those and, well, I guess that color's more of a purple than a magenta. But now that those are all grouped together, they're going to be engraved the same. Now that those are all the same, we're going to move the order of these so that they're cut from one side to the other. And we can actually see this by looking at how these are connected together. And it shows the order that they're going to be engraved in. So we can see the lines, shows it'll do the top one, do the bottom one, and that it'll do the boxes. Now those boxes, those bounding boxes, are very important for what we're doing. It makes sure to keep the graphics located where they should be. Now we have set those bounding boxes to power is 0, 0. We could change the speed if we wanted to. Since they're last, it's not going to create that much more extra time. So we're just going to leave those as is. So if we look at our machine info, you see our format parameters. And notice that we have the pitch dot set to the top right hand corner, so that correlates with the top right hand corner of our bounding box, which is where we want it to start. We want it to start at our current location because we're going to manually set the head where we want it so that it will start at that location. We have other options available, but we want it to print only in the safe area. But we're going to use the current location because we're going to manually set this with our rotary. Close that out. Now we're ready to download this to the machine. So we click the button, we give it a name. Now these names, would they show up in the document name? They actually show up short, so I put short names in. It downloads to the machine, and then we're ready to go have this stuff engraved. So we're going to close that out. Now there is a simulation button where you can actually look at the job and see how it goes. I usually look through these once or twice, but the biggest thing, the biggest benefit to the simulation is the estimate button. So we're going to end that, click on estimate. Now usually the estimate is within a minute or so of the actual runtime, so that's why I click the estimate, so I can give the client an idea about how long it's going to take for runtime. That also gives me an idea how long it's going to take for runtime, so I know how much it's going to be to charge. So now let's go to the laser. So we can see at the end of the engraving that it's still dull, oxidized, and there's residue on the surface. So what we're going to do is clean it with a product called LA Total Awesome. It works pretty well, but as you can see, it's still not quite bright enough. So we're going to use a product that I used as a truck driver, Chemical Guys Heavy Metal Polish, and it does a wonderful job. As you can see here, now it's all bright, high contrast, shiny. As I rotate this a little bit, you can see that it's almost a mirror finish. And this is what we want to show our customers. Thank you for joining us today for this video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, and stop back by our video channel and see what's coming up next.